All right, let me take you through history. Mandela was still president of South Africa when Rwanda and Uganda first attacked DRC in 1998-99. He was still president. And during that time, he was the SADC chairman when that happened. And when Kabila had appealed to SADC, because DRC is part of SADC, appealed to SADC that my neighbors from the east are attacking me, please can you come and help me? All right. This communique was sent to Mandela as SADC chairman during that time, and a meeting was then held to try and come up with a force that will actually protect the DRC during that time by the SADC leaders. What did Mandela do? Mandela refused to actually sanction a force that would protect DRC during that time, and refused to accede to Kabila's request for for military support, because DRC was actually being run over by Uganda and Rwanda during that time. They were marching through the whole territory and were left at only taking over Kinshasa, and they had already surrounded Kinshasa during that time with their Intara-Mahawe and so on, and they had taken critical installations in DRC, and but Mandela refused to actually join and said, no, we are not going to do that, and so on. Unbeknownst to Mandela, Mugabe had started another, just before Mandela took over the chairmanship, Mugabe had started another organ. It's called the SADC organ on politics and security. He had started another organ on politics and security, which was a legal arm of SADC during that time. So when Mandela said no, Mugabe was the chairman of the SADC organ on politics and security, right? And could make independent decisions away from the SADC chairman, because the organ on politics and security could assess the situation and make informed decisions during that time. And when Mandela said no, Mugabe said yes, right? So Mugabe then immediately said yes, went to Angola, asked for support, went to Namibia, asked for support to come up and galvanize a SADC force. And during that, I think it was a July or August night of 1998, SADC soldiers flew into Kinshasa and were dropped by parachutes. Right? By the time the morning came and Kinshasa was about to fall, they realized that Kinshasa was now heavily protected, and Uganda and Rwanda were repelled viciously and ferociously by SADC during that time. And that fight, I remember, lasted less than 24 hours. And Uganda and Rwanda had been defeated and were now asking for safe passage. They had even put explosives on one of the the hydro dam of DRC, the one that supplies power. And they were asking for safe passage or they will blow up the dam. I remember that very well. That is the only way they were given safe passage to return back to their respective countries. So this history does not start now. It goes back, and just imagine Nguti Mandela then was well resourced to help. It was 4 years after South Africa got its independence. Was well resourced to help in that situation, and he refused. But he could have helped to resolve the problem then. And just look at this. The war by 2002 was no more. Rwanda had been kicked off everything. They were no longer, Uganda was no longer a threat, and everyone else, right? But look at this. South Africa conglomerates, businesses then came for the spoils of war, went into DRC. Peace is now guaranteed by other SADC countries. Now companies are now moving in there. South African companies are now moving in there, securing deals, mining deals, long chain deals, and so on, right? And now you have South Africa that then moved 28 years later into DRC to help secure the country, right? Some people might say on behalf of this big business or whatsoever. It's neither here nor there, right? Wars are always fought on interests. You don't just go to war for the sake of it. You protect certain interests. That is the reason you go to war. So whether South Africa is there to protect whatsoever, I'm enjoying the taxes that are coming from there. So whatever they're fighting for whatsoever, I just know that the country is sent and has South Africans fighting and dying there. So it's good for me that we are there. It's a SADC country, so we cannot question why we are there. If the government of SADC countries ask us to be there, we'll go there, right? So now 28 years later, South Africa is about to get into a war that they refused to get into in 1998. And it has to be resolved. Kagame has to be put in his place, because otherwise he will continue to run amok and be a marauder across the region. He has been doing it for quite some time now. And he needs to be put in his place as quickly. I'm not saying that there must be war to put him in place, but at some point somebody has to tell him, you know what, your game is up. Mugabe told him his game was up 1998, 99, and he ran to the UN to ask for help. And that actually put him in his place for at least some years, for some decades. But he's back again, the same guy, causing same problems in the DRC.